What's going on, guys? Today I'm going to show you one of the best devices for Kodi and retro gaming. This device is called the Raspberry Pi. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to show you a little bit about the Raspberry Pi, and then I will show you how to install RetroPie and Kodi. Alright, so here is the Raspberry Pi. With the Raspberry Pi, up top we do have 4 USB ports. These USB ports can be used for keyboards, mice, or hard drives. We also have an Ethernet LAN cable over here. If we do turn over the Raspberry Pi, we do have an HDMI cable and an audio port. If we turn it over one more time, at the bottom we do have a micro SD card slot. And over here we do have a spot to put in LCD screen or any other devices you want to use for your Raspberry Pi. And the other devices I do have here is I have a keyboard and mouse combo. It's a USB keyboard and mouse combo that you will need for the installation. You can use a normal USB mouse and keyboard. It doesn't matter, but I will be using this one. I also have a micro SD card to install Kodi and the RetroPie. And finally, I have a flash drive. And this is what you'll be using to migrate all your files from your computer to your Raspberry Pi. Alright, so let us get started. Alright, so for our first step, we are going to make sure that our micro SD card is plugged into our PC. Once the micro SD card is plugged in, you will see it will pop up as a removable disk. I have it under the letter E. You can have it under any other letter. So what we're going to do next is we're going to right click that removable disk and we're going to click Format. We are going to make sure that the file system is FAT32 and then we're going to press Start. It's going to warn us and we're going to press OK. Once the format is complete, we're going to press OK. Our next step is we're going to go on this website, www.berryterminal.com/doku.php/berryboot. Once we hit this website, we're going to go down until we see download link berryboot for the quad-core Raspberry Pi 2 and Pi 3 only. What berryboot is an OS that allows you to install multiple OSs onto your Raspberry Pi. So what we're going to do right now is we are going to click on it, and it's going to tell us that it's going to download in 3 seconds or 5 seconds, and then it's going to ask us where we'd like to save it. I personally would like to save it under the removable disk that we just plugged in, so I'm going to click Save. Once it has fully downloaded, we are going to open up the removable disk on our PC, and we're going to see berryboot. Our next step is we're going to right click the berryboot zip file, and we're going to click Extract All. Now it's going to ask us where you want to extract this folder, and we're going to make sure that it's under the letter for your micro SD card. And then we're going to press Extract. It's going to take a couple seconds. Once it has fully extracted, we are going to unplug the micro SD card. And now we're going to plug in the micro SD card in the spot that it belongs. And we are going to take our USB cable and we are going to plug it into the spot right over here. It is now going to blink and start up. Our next step is we are going to plug in our HDMI. And we're going to plug that into our TV. And we are going to check out what is on our screen. And when this screen pops up, we are going to follow the directions now, and this is when you're going to need your mouse that's plugged into the Raspberry Pi. Alright, so our first option here, it asks you if you see green borders. We're going to say yes because we do see green borders. It's going to ask us our network connection. So if you do have an Ethernet cable plugged in, you're going to click wired, but if you want to use the Wi-Fi, you're going to click Wi-Fi. Our next option is audio. You could do auto, HDMI, or headphones through the audio jack. And then we're going to pick our time zone, our keyboard layout, and then we can type here to test the keyboard. And then we're going to press OK. Now it's loading our drivers. So the next option is it's going to show you the Wi-Fi that is available. So you're going to click the Wi-Fi that is yours, and then you're going to enter in your password. Alright, so after you put in your Wi-Fi selection, over here it asks you which disk you would like to use. We are going to use the SL32 gig, or whichever one is the first one. It has a little notebook looking thing on the top left. And we're going to click Format. This process is going to take a couple minutes. Just give it some time. Once this process is done, it's going to ask us to install operating systems. These operating systems can be installed right from here. So there are 2 operating systems we are going to install. Alright, so the first one we're going to install is OpenELEC, which is Kodi. There are other versions of Kodi like SPMC and whatnot that you can install. But for today, we are going to install the OpenELEC version, which allows you to install OpenVPN, and you can put in your own VPN, which is fantastic. So this is the first one I'm going to click. And we're going to download it. So again, this is going to take a couple minutes. Alright, and once this has installed, it's going to say press OK to reboot. So we are going to scroll down and click OK. Alright, so this is what OpenELEC looks like when we restart Berry Boot. But our next option is we do want to install RetroPie so that we can play all our favorite ROMs and install all our favorite emulators. And to do that, we're going to go all the way back up until we see Add OS. We're going to go to Others, and we're going to click on RetroPie. And then we're going to press OK. This process is going to take a little while, so just take a break and come back. Alright, now that RetroPie is installed, we're going to press that big X at the top. And we're going to wait for Raspberry Pi to restart. And now we're going to click on RetroPie so I can show you how to install all your favorite ROMs. And here is RetroPie. Once you configure your gamepad, this is the screen it will show. It will not show any ROMs or emulators. So I'm going to show you how you can put ROMs and emulators onto RetroPie. So our first step is we are going to plug in our USB flash drive into the Raspberry Pi. Once the USB flash drive is plugged in, you're going to wait for it to stop blinking, or I would give it a few minutes when it's plugged in if you don't have a light on your flash drive. And it will put emulator folders right on the flash drive for you. After it stops blinking, now we're going to plug it back into the computer. And on the computer, you should have a folder that says RetroPie. So we are going to click on it. And you'll have a BIOS folder for all the emulators that need BIOS. You'll have a configuration folder for all your controllers, and you'll have a ROMs folder. So we're going to click on the ROMs folder. And in the ROMs folder itself, you are going to see all the different types of ROMs you can install onto RetroPie. So what you're going to do is you're going to use the ROMs that you do have. If you do not have ROMs, you can look them up on Google. You can look up ROMs for different systems on Google, download them. And then we're going to click and drag them into the appropriate area. So if you download Game Boy Advance ROMs, you're going to put them into the Game Boy Advance folder. If you download Game Boy Color ROMs, you're going to put them in the Game Boy Color folder. And so on and so forth. Alright, and after you're all done doing that, we're going to plug the flash drive back into the Raspberry Pi. Once the flash drive is plugged into the Raspberry Pi, you should keep your flash drive plugged in. If you do have a light on your flash drive, keep it plugged in until the light stops blinking. If not, I would give it some time plugged in if you have a lot of ROMs. After this process is complete, you are going to restart your Raspberry Pi. And to do that, you can unplug the Raspberry Pi and plug it back in, or you can press Ctrl-Alt-Delete on your keyboard. So once my flash drive stopped blinking, I restarted my RetroPie, and now I'm going to click on RetroPie again so I could show you what ROMs have been installed. Alright, and this is what it's going to look like once you installed all the ROMs onto your RetroPie. See, I installed ROMs for almost every system, so I have Amiga, Apple II, Atari, Commodore, Macintosh, Nintendo 64, Nintendo, MS-DOS ports, PlayStation. There's some RetroPie options, and you got ScumVM, Sega 32, Super Nintendo, Infocom. So I'm going to test out one of these ROMs. So I'm going to go over until I see Nintendo per se. We're going to click on Nintendo, and I'm going to click on the 2-in-1 Mario Brothers Duck Hunt. You're going to give it a couple seconds. And there you have it. We have Mario Brothers and we have Duck Hunt. You can try out any of these games. You could play Mario Brothers. You could play any games you'd like. I have over 1,000 games for each system almost. Just note, if you do want a lot more games, you're going to need a bigger micro SD card. Because I know with the PlayStation and I know with the Sega CD, you're going to need a lot of space for each game. Alright guys, so let me show you Kodi really fast and then we will end this video. Alright, so we're back in the Berry Boot menu and we are going to open up OpenELEC. And you can see that it opens up much faster than most devices. Alright, so we do have videos, music, and programs. And under the videos and whatnot, you already have apps installed already. You could do a clean version of Kodi, but for this video's sake, I'm just going to show you a few things. So with OpenELEC, you are going to also have to put in your Wi-Fi for OpenELEC. So to input your Wi-Fi information, if you are using Wi-Fi, you have to click on OpenELEC. You have to go down to connections, and you got to click on your connections and enter in your password, and that's how you configure it. Once you do that, Kodi is yours. Alright guys, well I hope you did enjoy this video. If you did enjoy this video and you would like to purchase a Raspberry Pi 3 or any of the accessories, I did put the links down below for all the accessories you will need, and the Raspberry Pi 3's link as well. You can get this on Amazon. I believe it's like $35. It's a great device. You don't have to use it just for RetroPie or Kodi. Alright guys, we'll leave a big like down below if you did enjoy this video. Don't forget to subscribe. I do have information about my subscriber giveaway this Saturday. Alright guys, till next time.